Elizabeth. Welcome to The Naked Truth for November 22nd, 2015. And I'm back with Jennifer. We haven't done this together in a while.
No, we haven't.
I'll turn it over to you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry. I'll get there. Okay, so I'm Jennifer Bleacher, and I am one of the hosts of the Naked Truth. And I'm so excited tonight because we have VSG Kirk with us. Kirk, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I had surgery in January of 2013 and have maintained a weight loss of about 155 pounds for the past year and a half, almost 2 years.
I didn't realize it was that much, 155.
Yeah. I started, I think, my weight loss surgery journey in the 360s was my original, I think, starting weight, and then around surgery day, I think I was around 320. And then from there, just started losing weight.
It's kind of cool how that works.
Yeah, I was wondering how high you were to start with. I was looking at your before and after picture today.
Yeah.
And I have to say, you looked really good in your before picture too.
Oh, thank you.
It's just shocking for me when you've only known someone as thin, when you don't meet them when they're at that place. It's like, wow, who is that?
Yeah, it's interesting or even like knowing somebody throughout their whole journey, and then forgetting. I posted a picture of Katie the other day, or I tagged her and said, "Oh my gosh, this was like the first time we met," and like I don't remember her.
I saw that too. I was the same. It's like, what?
Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's just so weird. How much we change and how much we transform.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So Jennifer, one of the things that I've been doing is just like have everybody kind of say how their week's been going, just so we can all kind of touch base. And Kirk, I know it was your birthday this weekend, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy
What did you do for your birthday?
We rented a house near Leavenworth.
You're always renting houses.
Yeah, which was over here in I think it's considered Eastern Washington. Well, maybe not, but it's about 2.5 hour drive from Seattle. Beautiful, beautiful house right on the river with 10 of my friends, and just we played games, we drank, we ate. We went and did some sightseeing yesterday in Leavenworth, a little bit of wine tasting. That was nice. Just overall, really just a great time. But that's what we did.
Awesome. How about you, Jennifer? What's been going on with you?
I actually had such an amazing weekend this weekend. It was Christmas for me, basically, because David took me Christmas shopping, and there were two things that I really wanted for Christmas, and he ended up just getting them yesterday and giving them to me early. So I got my wedding band that I've been talking about. Yeah, thank you. So I was excited about that, but also he got me this thing. And it's just totally not a plug. Obviously, we're not a sponsored show. But do you guys know what this is?
It's like a sound box thing, right?
Oh my God, it's amazing! This little thing, it does things that my old stereo, with floor speakers, back in the '80s. I was listening to this in my kitchen last night, and the windows were rattling.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, that's how loud it is. And it was so I just love it so much because I'm a big music person and I love listening to music, but it's not the same on your phone or on a computer. On the computer speakers, it's just not the same as when I could fill my whole house with music and feel it in my belly, So tonight I was listening to this when I was getting ready, and the first song that came on was Queen, Under Pressure, and it sounded so good, from my high school years, so good that I started crying. It was it was a rush of emotions. I haven't heard this sound for decades. It was so good. So I'm euphoric right now. I'm on a high.
Awesome. So just real quick, a couple people have been messaging me saying they can't comment. Jennifer's going to talk to you guys in a few minutes about how to comment. So
yes, I will actually be teaching you how to do that in just a few seconds.
Yeah, she actually figured it out, which is fabulous. So I did something this weekend, actually twice, that I've never done in my whole life, which seems kind of crazy, but I'm so different than I was, even a year ago. So I went out dancing for the first time in 49 years twice.
Oh, wow.
And on Friday night, danced for 4 hours straight.
Wow.
And
that's
so
awesome.
Fun. It was so fun. And then went to a concert last night and told my friend, it's oh, let's go someplace we can go dance. And so we went dancing again. So it was just really, really fun to just feel free to be able to do that, where I used to be just so self-conscious about everything. So that's my weekend.
I absolutely love dancing. So,
yeah, I do now, but I was always way too self-conscious to ever do that before.
Well, it's probably a little more comfortable to dance now.
Well, yeah, not like well, I actually was sweating, but nothing like before. Yeah. Okay, and I wanted to announce something really quick. I announced it on Facebook, and the WLSFA people actually beat me to it to announce it. But that just means what, Jennifer?
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Okay. That the WSFA people announced it, and that just says that I have such an awesome panel that they want to promote it right away. But we're doing a YouTuber panel in Nashville,
nice.
And that I'm going to moderate, and I think hopefully they'll give us like 3 hours because it's a pretty big panel because there's so many amazing people. But we have Lindsay Fly, Lauren Dayton, Tanya, Phil, and the Mahoneys and Gastric Tiger on the panel to talk about how being involved and being a YouTuber has impacted their journey. And I think if we have time, we're also going to do like some hands-on workshops on how to make videos for people.
Oh, cool.
So I just want to announce that. So I hope to see a lot of you there.
I
think so far, that's the panel that I'm most excited to go see.
Well, that's why I think everybody needs to tell them that they need to give us like 3 hours.
Yeah. At least 2.
Yeah, because I'd also like to have people show their most impactful parts of their videos or something. But anyway, go ahead. We're taking too much time not talking about Kirk.
No, it's okay. I was going to do community celebrations and then show people how to do the comments, but people are figuring it out, which is awesome. So these are the people who are already here and they've already submitting comments. I have a question for you guys though, Kirk and Elizabeth. Can you see the comments on the right-hand side of your screen?
No.
No.
Okay, so I guess I'll tell you.
Okay, so what do we need to do to see them?
Okay, so I don't know what you need to do to see them. So if you go to the left of your screen, does something pop up like any buttons? Click the Q&A button.
Got it.
Yay!
Oh, yay!
Okay, so here's who we have. Yes, so here's who we have watching right now, and then I will teach everyone else who doesn't know how to do this how to get on with us. Mama Mia, VSG, James Haney throws me off. TK Sleever, Phil Olson, Sister Scaleback, RNY. They're all here. They're all commenting. Go ahead and keep commenting, guys. I'm going to teach the rest of the audience how to do this. First of all, I tried doing this on a cell phone today. It didn't work. It only would work for me from a laptop and a PC, so that's probably the only way you can do it. I'm going to share my screen with you right now. Let's see. So this is going to pop up in just a second, so you guys can see what it looks like. Can you guys see it now?
Yeah.
Yes. Jennifer's obviously a teacher.
Okay, perfect. So if you're nice frozen face. Okay, so this is what an audience member sees on their computer. What they need to do is they need to click this part here that says "Be a part of the conversation." That's the part you need to click. If you've already X'd out of it, you can just leave the page and come back, and it will pop up again. So I'm going to click on that so you can see what will happen when you click on it. So once you click on it, this will pop up. See, right here. This pops up, and you can see all the comments that people have left. So you can ask a comment or question, and if you want to do that, you click on this bar at the bottom that says Ask a New Question. So you click on that.
Wait, where's the bar?
It's on the bottom right-hand side. It's green. It says Ask a New Question. So you click on that. You type a comment or question. I just typed hi, and it will pop up. So that's it, guys.
Very cool.
Okay, so I'm going to stop this now. Okay. Come back, hopefully. Do you see me now?
Yep.
I see you.
Perfect. Yay. Okay, so that's how you guys can comment. And like I said, I couldn't get it to work for my cell phone. Okay, so should we read some of the comments that people are saying?
I like the one that I think it's like, so it's the name is below the comment where Jim Haney says if you can't figure out how to comment, you don't deserve to comment.
Oh, James Greeny. Well, James, I just had to do that because we've had so many technical problems with that. Like, this is the first time in weeks we've been able to get people to comment. So, Mama Mia VSG says, hello, I love you, Kirk. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
And, okay, I'm going to try to say what she said. She said, hey, girl.
Girl.
I didn't say it right.
You did just fine.
Oh, okay. James Haney says, hey, y'all, I'm here. Let's see. TK Sleever, what's up? Hi, friends. Oh, whoops, sorry.
No, it's like, I don't understand how it...
I had morning
Okay,
coffee
Kim
with
Can Do
her.
It says, oh, nice. OMG, you are the best. I'm here now. TK Sleever says, what's up? Hi, friends. Okay, that's not really a question. Phil Olsen says that he's a little late, but he made it.
Yay.
There's a lot of like comments and stuff. So I guess we'll come back to this in a minute.
Well, everybody can see them, so you guys can look. So you guys can look at them too.
Yeah, if you're on a computer, you can see all the comments. So okay, here are the shout outs for this week. CC VSG in Wonderland has hit Wonderland, so congratulations, CC.
Nice.
Tanya O'Rourke is celebrating her 4-year anniversary. And so is Melody Lees. Did you just see her recently?
Oh, that's what I forgot to say. Yeah, I actually met her yesterday, Zen Maiden. We had brunch yesterday on Huntington Beach, so that was awesome.
Oh, I would love to meet her. And then Becky Cotel LeBlanc is celebrating her 2-year anniversary. And Sandra French has hit goal. So congratulations, awesome. Sandra. That is awesome. Angie Faye has lost 126 pounds.
Wow.
Stephanie RNY, she is having surgery on November 30th, which I know is a little bit ahead, but I'm not going to be on the show, so I thought I'd give her a shout out now. And then Melissa, Mama Mia, she hit goal today. Congratulations, so awesome. Melissa. I'm so excited for her. And then the very last one I have is Gretchen VSG for me. Today she got into a size 8, which I couldn't even fathom getting into a size 8. That is freaking awesome. So congratulations, everyone.
Yay!
Yay!
Okay, so before we get started, I actually have one more thing to do, Kirk, and then we're finally going to talk to you.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, but one of the things that I like to do, and I hide it from the guest, is to ask people how this person has impacted their journey. So you got more comments on this than anybody we've had since I started doing this.
Oh.
And I'm not going to read them all, but I'm going to read a couple of them, and then I'm going to email them all to you so that you have them, because they're very sweet.
Oh my God! I'm getting misty already.
I know. Okay, so
don't make me cry, bitches.
Are you ready?
Yes.
And I'm only reading because there's so many and they're so long that I'm just reading little pieces. So Sandra Franco Sandries said, when I first met Kirk only 4 months after surgery at OH in 2013, he held my hand and said, "You need to stop being a worrier and be a warrior." That stuck with me since. It's making me cry. That stuck with me since then. It gives me motivation to keep going in the toughest of moments since surgery.
Oh.
And I'm just going to read a piece of Gastric Roses because hers is kind of long, but she says, "Kirk, my love, never change. Keep allowing people to come into your heart. Make those lasting friendships that form a quilt of love and comfort."
Oh, wow.
I know. And Joe Green, Joe says, "Kirk, you called me and texted Sunny the day of my surgery to check up on me. You'll never know how much that means to me. Since day one, you have always been a great friend, soul sister, and confidant. I treasure all our drunken escapades and conversations about shows. We might not live close by, but you're always in my heart."
Oh, yeah, I love Joey.
And Sleeve Rocker Pete says, okay, I'm not going to read the beginning, but he says, "He's kind and considerate in the words he uses and how he responds to people, and somehow manages to do that while being open, loads of fun, and provocative. That's a rare thing to experience from some person over the internet for sure. Very glad to have him around." And mine was just, I remember meeting you at OH, and I was probably still close to 300 pounds, and you said to me, "You are so beautiful." And that was, I'm going to cry, but that was the first time I heard somebody say it, and I believed it.
Oh, well, I mean, you just exuded. I mean, there's just so much happiness going on.
So anyway,
I can see it.
So we all love you, and I want you to know that. And after this is over, I'm going to email you all the full copy. And
thank you.
So, and now we'll actually start the show. Now that it's 5:50. So we kind of like to start at the beginning and get an understanding of, you know, were you overweight as a kid? How long has this been an issue? That kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. So I don't know that I was overweight as a very small child, but certainly by the 4th, 5th, 6th grade, definitely was wearing husky brands or husky sizes. So it was a long sort of struggle, and then I did this really weird, crazy thing in high school. I think it was my junior year of high school. Over the summer, I was like, I am not spending the last year of high school fat. So I went on a crazy crash diet, as a teenager would do, just not being very educated about how to do things healthy. Where I would just literally I stopped eating. Like
I didn't eat for a whole summer, and
I was living on iced tea, with Sweet and Low or whatever the saccharin was back then, and it was iced tea, and I remember eating lettuce with vinegar on it and feeling guilty about it, like thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't have had that. So I lost a lot of weight just over summer. I mean, people were shocked. So I got down to about 220. I was probably close to 300 pounds at the beginning of summer, and over a 3-month period, lost about 80 pounds.
Wow.
So I had that sort of taste of what it felt like to be quote unquote normal, but that didn't last very long. I kept that weight off for several years, but then it started just creeping back up, to the point, to where I'd gotten, somewhere near my highest, probably right before surgery. So.
Now, did your family try to manage your weight, or they were pretty much okay with it, and you just?
They were, it was a non-issue in my family because my mother was overweight. My dad had a very physical job, so he was stocky, and my brother had no weight problem at all. He was the skinny, athletic, could eat whatever he wanted, do whatever, anything. So it really wasn't an issue. It wasn't a big deal, but certainly food played a big deal in our lives. So we grew up probably what would be considered lower middle class. My dad worked at a grocery store, and we lived on whatever food was cheap. So if they were slicing open boxes of macaroni and cheese and the box cutter accidentally cut open some of the boxes, I remember we would have like a case of macaroni and cheese that he bought, because it was like 5 cents a box. Or he would bring home cheese that had started to mold, and we would just peel the mold off of it, and we would make quesadillas and enchiladas, and just so much of the food that we ate growing up was very carby, very filling, and very inexpensive. I mean, it was nothing for my mom just to throw a box of pasta, some tomato sauce, and a pound of ground beef, and have to make dinner out of that. And for me, we loved it.
Right.
Yeah, so it was like not an issue in terms of relational. It just.
Let me ask you one quick question, and this is on my list, but because I did the same thing in high school where I starved myself and over a summer and came back really thin, like 140 pounds, which was like the lowest I've ever weighed, but I still felt fat. Did you really feel normal during that time you had lost that weight?
I think I felt pretty normal, and back then too, because I was so young, there was not the type of loose skin issues that I have now as an older person, so things did kind of settle into place. But I don't know that I don't know if I don't even know what does normal feel like, really. Right. Who knows? I mean, right now, today, I feel normal.
Yeah. I mean, I feel way more normal now at like 200 pounds than I did at 140.
Yeah. So I think so.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good point, Elizabeth, because I'm happier with my weight now at 194 or 5 than I was at 145.
Yeah.
But back then I didn't appreciate it. I thought I needed to lose 10 pounds.
Right, exactly. I thought I was way too fat at 145 pounds.
So I have a question from Sister Scaleback. Her husband just recently had surgery, and she wanted to to know that you are a great inspiration for her husband, who's newly post-op, and the question is, what is the one thing you wish you had done differently in the beginning of your WLS journey?
Differently. I don't know. I don't. I think this might come up a little bit later, or we can just talk about it now. But I was like I stuck to the rules. I was very much like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So I did not. I ate what I was supposed to eat on my various phases. I didn't skip ahead to anything or try things. Where I feel really lucky is I'm definitely a VSGer who has lost a lot of hunger, and then I don't really struggle with the head hunger. So sometimes eating is an issue in terms of making myself eat or knowing that it's time to eat or that kind of thing. I know. But yeah, so if I could do anything different, I think everything has to happen exactly the way it happens on your journey, and we can just do our best to prepare for it, and we can do what we can to learn from each other and sort of be prepared for some of the weird stuff that happens. But I think I wouldn't change anything.
Can you tell because this is like my favorite story that I watched in one of your videos. Do you know what that is? The Smart Pop one, where you would like take an Ambien before you went to bed.
Yeah, but so for those of you who haven't seen these videos or whatever, I have this problem where I'll take an Ambien or something and I don't go right to bed, and you're supposed to you're supposed to take it and go to sleep. But I get, I start watching videos, I watch TV, I don't go out and drive or anything like that. But I'll eat. Like when I don't think that I could eat anything, or I don't feel hungry, all of a sudden I will wake up and there's like a bag of Skinny Pop. And not like a little single-size bag, but like the entire bag. And I'm like, how does that happen? Like, where does it go? Because when I'm awake, I can eat 4 or 5 handfuls and I'm like, oh my God. But the funny thing was, so I was doing everything so by the book back then, at least what I thought I was doing by the book, but I even remembered to put it on MyFitnessPal. So I was like, even though
the whole bag, that was like hysterical. You put the whole bag in my.
Well, and I was one of those people that felt like if you're gonna do the MyFitnessPal, you're only hurting yourself or cheating yourself if you aren't being honest on it.
Right.
And I felt like there was a responsibility, especially if people were following MyFitnessPal or following my journey, were trying to kind of emulate some of the meal planning or the meals that I was having. It's like I could not put something on there just because I'm trying. I don't know how I'm trying to say what I'm trying to say, but I don't want people to think, oh, he's losing all this weight and he's only eating this, because you're only putting certain things on and some things not. Because I wanted it to be as accurate as possible, I guess is what I was saying. The good and the bad.
Do you still track on MyFitnessPal?
I don't. I still have an active account, but I don't track any food at all. I don't. We just talked about this the other day, but I don't look at any on the nutrition things. I don't look at anything carb related. I don't look at calories. I look at one number. It's the protein, and I try to make sure that everything that I eat has at least double-digit protein. So where I used to hate eating protein bars, with me not eating as often as I should, I've started to eat them. Again, at least one. And to me that's better than not having anything at all.
I started doing a protein shake again every day too, because I was really slacking.
Yeah, so it's just protein is really all I'm really concerned with. I'll weigh myself maybe once every 3 weeks or so, maybe. But it's interesting because when you get closer down to your kind of your where your body wants to be, you can tell if you put on 2 or 3 pounds, or at least I can. And then I just automatically just adjust, and I don't even. It's not like a big oh my God, regain. No, it's like no, it's like okay, so I know this week now I'm gonna have instead of having a breakfast burrito, tomorrow morning I'm gonna have a Greek yogurt instead. And I think this is just what people do, people who don't worry about eating or who don't worry about their weight. They just naturally you find a balance, I think.
So thinking back to when you were overweight, did you have to make like lifestyle adjustments to cope with being overweight?
Oh, all kinds. I mean, yes, I was not one of the people that was sick, or at least not yet, but I was developing asthma, and that was really concerning. Because I would just have this like rattle like at night, and it just was really uncomfortable. I even went as far as this is like really really serious. Like I even went as far as being really concerned about being able to clean myself after using the restroom, and like I even like looked at catalogs where you could buy things to like extend or reach around. So I literally I don't remember when we were talking about this. We're talking about somebody. But like, but as a result of that, I'm very habituated in my routine. Let's call it that, where it's I take a shower afterwards, even to this day.
Now?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I try not to use the restrooms anywhere in public because that's something that also that would scare me or horrified me of being out in public, needing to use the restroom, not being able to clean myself properly, being in a very small stall. So yeah, those were some changes. I mean, those were some things that were going on, and that's where it was kind of like, can I do this forever? And then like I was traveling a lot for work, and I just every time I would get on the plane, I just could see the people just like don't look at me, don't look at me, I hope I'm not sitting next to you, you know, and just being uncomfortable the entire time. And what should have been a pleasurable thing, whatever, was not. It was this. There was all the anxiety that went into just everyday life, waking up every morning and already knowing I was going to hate my clothes and that I was going to be uncomfortable all day.
Nothing you could find that you really liked.
No, and like the clothes were so expensive, and you know, $70
and they
for
sucked.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, who wants to spend that kind of money on a shirt just to put it on, knowing that you're going to hate it? You know, so
right? Yeah, exactly.
So those were some of the changes.
Okay. Gracie says she's watching and she loves you, and that she can't comment. So, what?
I love her eyebrows.
I love her.
Yeah.
So much fun with her. How old were you? If you don't mind, since you just turned 29, saying how old were you when you had surgery?
I don't know. I'd have to do the math.
27.
Yeah, 27.
Okay, got it.
But in real
years?
if I was not just celebrating my 29th birthday over and over again, so let's see, if I was born in 1968 and I had surgery in 2013, right?
Yeah, so we're not that. You're 2 years younger than me, so you would have been 46, right? No, 45, 46.
45, I would
45,
imagine.
Yeah. So what was it that finally got to you to the point of deciding to have weight loss surgery, and what was that decision process like for you?
I felt like I was committing suicide very slowly, is what it felt like to me. And I was becoming more and more depressed. And I even went to I tried doing therapy, and the root of it all was just how unhappy I was with me, my body, and with not being able to control that part of me. And I always thought, I'll have a job someday where it'll be covered by insurance. So that's when I'll have surgery. And I had known a few people that had surgery and they weren't successful.
Right, me too. And I use that as an excuse not to do it.
Yeah, so it wasn't until I did some research or did a Google search, just a random Google search one night, and I saw that there was a completely different procedure that I had never heard of that was done up here in the Puget Sound as an outpatient procedure.
Yours is an outpatient?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that intrigued me for a few reasons. A, the cost, then all of a sudden it made it within my reach in terms of cost. And then in terms of not having any downtime or missing too much work, was really, so I did a little bit more research, and I talked to somebody at the surgery center and just got more details. And then I was like, I can do this. Some people buy cars. Some people will spend this money on a TV or a computer and not think twice about it. I'm like literally in a mode right now where I feel like I need to save my life.
Yeah.
And so it just clicked, and everything started falling into place where, I just started doing the appointments. It was like a light switch went off, and it was like I had hope, instantly had hope again.
Did you? I mean, I don't know how it is for you, but I've just been realizing this lately. If somebody would have told me 2 years ago that I could be this happy in my life, I would have never believed it.
Yeah, I would agree with you that there's like all of that energy that goes into all of that anxiety and all that depression now is freed up for me to do other things. Like I get to do stuff like this or help other people and try to find a hobby that I'm into. Things like that. I can wake up in the morning and just get ready.
That actually gave me chills because I never thought about it like that. That it was all this energy that was focused on being depressed and anxious and how are you going to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
It's freeing, and feels great.
Yeah.
That part feels great.
So how did you try to manage your weight before weight loss surgery?
Every single diet in the world. I did Weight Watchers and had some relatively good success with that, but it was never long term. I could lose weight. I was a professional weight loser. Like it was nothing. Like if I said, okay, I'm going to go on this diet, I did it. Like if I was going to do Atkins, I was doing Atkins. I was even like, does this toothpaste have sugar in it? Or I want to make sure my ketones, that I'm throwing ketones. When I would do it, I would do it. The problem was, as soon as I'd have any kind of relative success, I would say, oh, well, it's okay for me to have this. Oh, it's okay for me to have that. And then I would just creep back into old habits that I would end up putting the weight back on. So it was just every diet, Weight Watchers. I even tried the juicing thing. I watched the juicing documentary.
Yes.
I went that first day, spent $200 on vegetables and things.
I remember that grocery store trip the day I watched that video.
Yeah, and then like, oh, this is what I have to look forward to. I became so cranky and so bitchy and so unhappy. I did it for 3 days, and I can't do this. I can't do it.
Yeah.
So the juicer was sitting at work.
I wonder how many of us did that. Watched,
that juicing one. I already knew I wasn't going to do that, so I don't know why the hell I went to the store and bought all that shit.
Yeah, I still have the juicer on my shelf. I'm never going to use that juicer again.
Yeah, the documentary was convincing, right?
Yeah, it was
we're
very
consumers,
convincing.
And it seemed legitimate, and it probably is. For some people, it works. I mean, for some people, it's going to work.
Have you seen the follow-up documentary to it?
I think I have. I just don't recall. I was probably taking Ambien.
It was
and eating Smart Pop.
Yeah.
Interesting. So like the main guy in the documentary, like he's had like bouts of weight gain, and then he goes back on the juicing and it comes back off again. But the second guy that they featured on the first documentary, he gained like everything back plus some.
Yeah, that sounds
it's really sad.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Biggest Loser. For me, it's anything that seems extreme. When I see people talking about the pouch test, that's the only, you know me, I'm like Switzerland. I am like so non-judgmental.
And that's the only thing I've ever heard you like speak out about.
Yeah, TJ is like, oh, you'll never have an opinion that will go against the grain. It's the only thing where I literally feel like if I don't say something, I'm contributing to the same behaviors that got all of us where we were to begin with. I'm sorry. I know that it works for some people and it helps them kind of reboot or get back on track or whatever. I think the secret to all of this, if it's even a secret, is just don't go off track to begin with, or don't make a track.
Exactly. Nothing is bad if you do it in little limited.
I was talking with VSG Christopher the other night, and it was like everything was so it was like everything was good or everything was bad. Everything was, and I'm like, don't think of it in those terms, because you're automatically that cycle of you ate something bad. Food is food.
Yeah, nothing is bad. That's my perspective. Nothing is bad.
It's like it's not good. It's not bad. It's like
it just is.
It is, and you just, if you have something that you normally wouldn't have or you feel bad about, I said, and I've said this a million times, probably people have heard it, but I left all that guilt and shame and everything that had to do with negative feelings about myself and what I put in my mouth. I left that with my stomach in the biohazard bag in the surgery center. And if I continue to take that with me, then the surgery was not worth having. If I'm just going to carry that with me, that's heavier than fat.
Yeah, absolutely. And that like pouch test discussion was like really early in my journey, where it's like, oh, the idea that I would ever have to do something like that was totally out of, of course now I can totally see why people would do that. But that gave me such a good perspective to watch that conversation and hear what you said about that, because it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I mean, that's exactly what got me here.
To me, if it smells like a diet and it looks like a diet, it's a diet. And
it's messed up.
And if you are going to go through the process of permanently altering your physiology, you're either ready to make this change or you're just not. And it's like you have to give up dieting the minute you decide to have weight loss surgery.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I have to say, like...
Yeah, no, say, I mean, I hear
because you got to goal. Yeah. But, like, for those of us who don't get to goal, like me, like, I never got to goal, like, it's so tempting. It's so tempting to, like, go on a diet. For me, like, the thought I keep thinking is, I'm not going to have any carbs. I'm just going to do pure proteins. But then I think, I don't want to do that. I did that so many times pre-surgery, and I told myself I wouldn't live like that anymore. So I don't want to do that. But
well, I think a lot of people put pressure on themselves to get to goal, quote unquote, in a mind or time frame that they think they should. And what this is like I said, it's about so individual, and the journey could be 9 months, it could be years. You know, it's kind of like when people have trouble getting pregnant, and they put all that time and focus, and they're so fixated on becoming pregnant, and then it's like that time when they're not thinking about it, or finding a relationship, right? When you're single, and it's like, it's like you're looking, and power dating, and you can't find Mr. or Miss Right, and then it's when you're not looking, that's when it happens. Yeah. I think your body does the same thing, and I think if you just do everything like you normally would, you're going to get there. It's not going to come off in 5-pound chunks, 10-pound chunks like it does initially. That's like probably the biggest thing that anybody who's in the beginning of their journey needs to really start thinking about now is what's going to motivate me when the scale stops.
Yeah.
When the scale stops moving, because that's a great feeling, right? That's a great feeling watching, 5 pounds this week, 3 pounds this week, and just that's motivating. It's like, all right, I'm gonna stick to this. This is great. This is exciting. I can't wait to see what it says next week. And it's like, what happens when the scale doesn't move anymore? When I remember being in my losing phase and talking to people about stalls and stalling and that kind of thing, and I didn't let it shake me, because to me, if I stressed about it, my body was gonna hang on to everything. So I didn't stress about stalls. I didn't stress if the scale didn't move. I just said, no, just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. And then eventually it just...
And when you're not, and I don't think this is a diet. Like, I know I'm probably taking in too many empty calories drinking right now. And I still have like 20, 30 pounds to go. And if I know that I need to like cut back on that if I'm going to get there, but that's not a diet. That's like a decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a choice.
It's a choice, exactly. Yeah. So because like we're already at 5:40, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, Jennifer, to the stuff that I think people might be more interested in. Is that okay?
Do that. And then there's some really great live questions that are coming in too. So why don't you ask a question and then I'll do a live question, okay?
Okay. But first I have to read what Gracie sent me a text about because I thought it was really funny. So Kirk has a shirt of him and Tanya and John, which shirt is very cute. Yeah. And she says, we need one of me planking on a bar with her holding bunny ears behind me when we were drunk in North Carolina, which we definitely do. But anyway, so let's talk about, and I am just getting to this point. I didn't think I was going to hit it, but I am. But let's talk about the mind fuck that is all of this. So you have been, and I so appreciate this, Kirk, you have been so open and authentic about, whenever you're struggling emotionally. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, because I'll try to. What it boils down to, or when people see those posts, or when I talk about it, there is this part of your brain, or my brain still, that wants to reach out to food for comfort, not out of hunger. So I think I've tackled that, right? So when you now no longer have these things to cope with, right? You start thinking, let's go out drinking, that's fun. And that becomes kind of like I've had a rough day or whatever, like, let's have some. And so I, very famously over the summer was like, maybe it's going to be a dry summer, because I really saw there was a pattern where I was still doing unhealthy things that just had nothing to do with food. Now it was I was filling it with other things. And so what I'm really, really working on, like what I work on consciously on a daily basis, is really, really thinking about what makes me want to do something. Like I really kind of press pause. It's kind of a big thing that goes over in my head when I find myself wanting to either shop too much, drink too much, this too much, that too much. The transfer addiction struggle to me is scarier than
it's real,
regain.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm also one of those people that tends to be very strong for other people, and I really felt like that was my role as as the fat guy. It's like I had to get people to like me in my mind. I had to get people to like me because of the things that I did for them. And that justified why they liked me. Same thing with my relationship. It's like, I was a very, very overweight guy. Eric was this not overweight,
hot person.
Yeah. It's like in my mind it was like, but because I provide things, and that makes sense then to me. So I was a giver and giver and giver. And I think I got to the point though where in the weight loss surgery journey, when I really started working on myself, it was like light bulbs started going on that it's like, no, I deserved this. It has nothing to do. My friends, they care about me because they care about me, not because of what I do. Eric loves me not because of the way I look or what I provide in terms of our existence. It's the person, and it's like allowing myself to see myself the way other people see me. This is where it gets a little teary. Is the part that is the struggle, because I believe I deserve to feel about myself the way others feel about me, and believe it.
That is so awesome, and I think being part of this community is really. I was saying to Jen RNY from Boston. We were chatting today, and we were saying the same thing. It's like, I deserve that. You deserve that. You deserve to be loved, and you deserve to have people cherish you. But part of it for me was getting the reflection from people in the weight loss surgery community who I could be myself with.
Yeah. I mean, that's why these events are so important, and these little mini official and unofficial gatherings are so important, because it's the one-on-one FaceTime where you get these like little tidbits or these experiences that stay with you when you're not together, and you have people that you don't have to explain anything to. You don't have to explain why you're ordering a small meal. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to worry about your loose skin, and you can just be yourself and just have a good time and really open up to each other and really get to know everybody on a more profound, deep level. I mean, I'm still very conscientious. I want to share as much as I can via YouTube and everything, but I'm still very careful about what I say, only because I don't want. I want to make sure I'm really thinking about what I'm saying, because I know that there are people who look to us, people who are further out or whatever, as examples, or as people who people want to emulate or be successful, quote unquote.
Right.
The thing is the journey, and the journey really is just life, and it is
life. Yeah.
When we talk about goals and starting or stopping, I don't feel like it's ever stopped for me ever. Like it just keeps going. And what I talk about when I do sometimes the new patient seminars, this so much is not about what you lose this entire journey. It's everything that you gain.
I know. And probably before I did this, I would have thought that was stupid.
Yeah, like whatever.
But it gives me chills when you say it, because it is so true. And it's like, for me, it's losing the weight was like a third of this.
Yeah.
And it's all this other stuff.
Well, and part of, and what I really like too, I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm happy that you remember, us talking or meeting for the first time, but just seeing people in their element, they're just beaming and exuding like confidence coming out for the first time, and You did look beautiful. You look beautiful.
But see, that's so funny because I do. I mean, the difference. I mean, I was still. I mean, Patty says this all. I was still like. The difference between that me and this me is huge. But you saw that starting to come out, and I was able to hear it, which was really important to me.
I really try to find that in everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I really try to find that one thing about everybody that needs something that they need to hear. I don't know how else to describe it. But I have this thing of just when I'm talking to people sometimes, I don't even know where it's coming from.
That's like Gastric Rose, you and her.
Yeah. Who is watching, by the way? She can't comment on here, but she sent me a message to let us know that she's watching.
Yay, welcome. But yeah, it's just, I just feel so lucky and so fortunate to have been surrounded by so many great people and have had the means to have the surgery done. I really feel like I do need to support groups like WSFA who do surgery grants for folks because it is about saving lives. This is life. For me, like I said, it was a life or death decision. I felt like I was committing suicide in the slowest, most painful way.
So the next live question comes from Scotty RNY, and he says, Kirk, do you feel that people looked at you differently being a guy and having the surgery? Commonly, women and not men, at least that's what I have experienced.
Yeah, I think that for the most part, men don't talk about it as much, or at least they didn't back, you know, when I was getting some. I don't think I knew any guys that had weight loss surgery. And even going back and looking at the patient seminars that I've participated in, very rarely will guys reach out in a public way to talk about their weight. Because, I mean, let's be honest, men can be overweight in society and not have to put up with as much crap as women do. I honestly believe that. So it's a little bit easier for us in that aspect. And, you know, it doesn't make the journey any easier, but I think I think it was important that guys started making videos and guys started talking about these things and knowing that it's okay to talk about you caring about your health and the way and it's okay to even care about the way you look. You know, this is not a sign of weakness, the fact that you can't get out of the unhealthy eating patterns or whatever. It's a sign of strength, I think. I mean, it's, you know, I'm one of those people. It's like when people reach out for help, to me, that is the strongest thing you can possibly do. When I talk about, you know, I have no shame saying I go to therapy weekly. You know, it's not because I have major issues anymore, but I just think it's a good. We have to reach out and help each other. We have to reach out sometimes and speak to somebody who's not invested in, you know, all of the backstory.
Well, yeah, right, exactly. And they don't have anything to gain or whatever. It's just...
and they can hear things from a different perspective that you may not even considered. You know, so that's part of this interesting. But yeah, so yeah, as far as from a guy's standpoint, I don't know if people treated me differently. If that was the original question about being treated differently, or
because you're a guy who had surgery.
I don't think so. Well, I have never had any of those post-surgery horror stories of people being unsupportive or trying to sabotage. I got nothing but support. My workplace, everyone knew what I was doing. I worked, you know, in a fairly small office, but I got nothing but support from everybody. Like there was, you know, never any comments made. You know, no, there was never the easy way out thing.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But my heart breaks for these people who live with people who are just, I mean, the world is mean enough. There's enough meanies out there in the streets and in the internet land that I just can't imagine what it's like if you're living with someone and the person who's supposed to be the one who supports you the most is the one trying to sabotage you for whatever reason, their own insecurities or whatever. So I really feel for that. The other thing too, I've noticed what made my journey very interesting, my initial weight loss journey interesting and probably easier for me was the fact that I was alone during that time period. That was Eric's first year of medical school, and he was over in Pullman. So I had nothing else to focus on but myself, and that was probably the best thing. And then I feel for people who have spouses and children,
Me
and
too.
you have to be responsible for making something different for dinner every night and be involved in that. No, I could literally make a pot of crock-pot chili and eat it for 2 weeks.
That's exactly what I do, because I don't have anybody else to worry about. It's like,
no.
You can just...
But then I notice, like, when Eric is home, it's like I find myself like, oh, well, we should have something different tonight, and maybe we should have, and he can eat, pretty much anything, and I eat whatever he eats, just in a really small portion. So I feel for that. I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but I think it had something to do with men and women, and so.
Well, it actually leads into a question.
Okay.
So let's talk about relationships. So obviously, you were with Eric before you had weight loss surgery, and obviously he was physically attracted to you as you were then. So how was that transition?
Well, we talk about it. I mean, we talk. We communicate. I mean, we've been together, I think, almost 12 years, 13 years.
Wow. How?
Yeah. Eric was 21.
Very young. Was he like?
Eric was 21 when we met.
Okay.
And so, I definitely fit a particular type of person in the gay community called a bear.
A bear.
So I was actually really kind of appreciated for my size, and I would walk into bear bars, and I would get attention. Because I kind of fit the mold for that particular thing. And we talked about it, because it's not only was I going to be changing, what he's attracted to, but we also we went into this knowing that just relationships in general really struggle post WLS. We didn't quite understand what that was going to look like, but we were prepared for that, in terms of we knew there was going to be some rocky roads. And now add to that medical school, and then let's just make it, crazy and move 2 or 3 times, and now,
without him there for a long time. And
yeah. I'm feeling it harder. I know, I'm feeling it harder this time than ever. But the important thing is that I had a chance to tell him that before he left, which I don't normally do. I try just to be the strong person who's just like, I've got this, I can handle this, or whatever. And I really felt like, nope, he needs to know this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talk. So we've even talked about, are you still attracted to me from a physical standpoint? Because my look is different.
And nobody ever talks about that. I don't hear that very often in this community, because same thing with men. There are men who are attracted to bigger women. Yeah. And if that's the group that you've been involved with, what's that transition like?
I can tell you that for Eric, well, I can't speak for him, but I can a little bit, because we have talked about this before. For him, he likes a lot about the person who I've become, the healthy me, the one that's maybe a little bit more adventurous and a little bit more active. Do we have a perfect relationship? No, I don't think anybody does. But I think what keeps us going is we talk about it. We talk about things. That dialogue is open. I was fully prepared for him to say at some point, I don't find you physically attractive. I don't think he would ever say that. And I think there's many aspects about me that he still finds very physically attractive. I still have my beard.
I'm sure he does.
I've got my chest hair,
I have no doubt about that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a scary conversation, but people need to have it.
It's so great that you have it, because I think probably, and that might be one of the problems with marriages down the road, is they don't have it and they don't talk about it, and it's this just
we talk about it. We talk about jealousy, and we talk about there are things that I could do when I was big, when I was overweight, that would not have been an issue at all, But now that I'm not overweight, I think sometimes people treat me differently.
Oh, absolutely.
So you have to be mindful of that, and how because I'm very fun and flirtatious and outgoing and all of those things. But now it's like I think less of Sarah had talked about this before, being the safe friend, the safe fat friend. And so I think for many years, I was safe, and he knew, that I was with him and that I was probably never going to leave him because he's so
hot.
Yeah.
Anybody who's met Eric knows how hot he is.
But so now we stay together because we choose to. I mean, it has nothing.
I mean, that's awesome.
It has nothing to do with what looks or weight or any of those things.
Okay, so number one, I think we need to have Kirk on again because we got through like a tenth of the questions. But Jennifer, why don't you pick one of the on-air ones, and then I have one more that I want to ask, and then our Inside the WLS questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Maybe we'll keep that date that we had, because we had scheduled Kirk for the end of January, and we had a cancellation, so I asked him if he could fill in. But maybe we just keep that date on your calendar, Kirk.
Yeah, because I will be celebrating by that point one of my surgeries, like
One of them.
It'll be it's getting to the point where I have to think like, wait, when was that?
Is it 3 or 4?
Well, if I had surgery in 2013, it'll be my 3rd year coming up this January. Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep that date on your calendar.
Yeah. I'm first. I'm going to share a statement, and then I will ask a question. This is from James Haney. The most important thing I did as a man is actually admitting I needed help. Yeah. We are not usually good at doing that. I agree with Kirk. Seeking help for your most dire need is a true strength. Ignoring and denial is cowardly. We do it out of fear. So I thought that was really important to share, because I believe after this hangout, all of these are going to disappear. I believe that's what's going to happen.
Oh, what?
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure. So here's a question from TK Sleever.
Okay.
So Kirk, do you have any tricks for becoming habituated in your routine? Prunes, supplements, any sort of something else? Help me out here, man. And EXO.
Yeah. Oh, she looks great. I FaceTimed with her.
She does. Amazing. She posted a picture today. She looked great.
Yeah, I have a routine, but it's not because it's something that I do because it's like, oh, this is my routine. It's just, but maybe it is. I don't know. But for probably at least the good first year and a half, almost 2 years, I pretty much ate the same thing every day for breakfast. So Greek yogurt with a little bit of protein granola every day. Like that was my breakfast, because I was the type that used to skip breakfast when I was overweight. And then for lunch, it was always the same thing. It was some kind of soup or stew or just something that was not, that had a lot of meat or beans or, and vegetables. I just really started craving fresh foods or fresh things. Mm-hmm. So, and then dinner usually is more of the same, really. I would just make things in the crock pot, throw them in the freezer, and it was like a mystery meal, and just kind of. But I also learned there were things that I really liked that that were still good for me, but like are things that you may not eat when you're first in the weight loss stage. But I love like frozen chicken nuggets. I can eat like 4, and I was fine with that. But I didn't have to make fries or anything to go along with that kind of thing. So yeah, having that kind of habit of the routine of when I can have one. It's like if you know what your week is going to look like, do a little bit of planning, or if I know if I'm going to have like a big celebratory meal or birthday weekend or whatever, I might be leading up to that make sure that I'm eating really clean, really healthy, really fresh, whatever. So that way, if I do decide I want to have a piece of pizza, it's not like, oh my God, I had a piece of pizza, right. The world's coming to an end, kind of thing. So food doesn't have that control over me anymore, which is a good thing. And
I really like that idea. There is no bad food.
Yeah, and I'm like lucky too because I don't really fear a regain. I know people struggle with that in the maintenance phase, and I love hearing people's thoughts about it. But that's the one thing still that hasn't entered my mind yet is having that fear of regain. And I can go up and down, 5 or 6 pounds, and it doesn't freak me out.
My thought is you create what you fear, so good thing you're not.
Well, I just think I think if you fear it, your body all of a sudden now
holds it. Yeah.
Here's the thing: if we believe that we can worry ourselves sick, right? We know what stress can do to your body physically. Yeah. Just let it go. It's going to hold on. And I'm also a firm believer if we can will ourselves sick, we can will ourselves better as well. And so that's my mindful sort of practice every day is trying to keep a space where I am making good decisions for myself, that I'm happy as I can be every day, that I can be healthy as I can be. Far from perfect. You guys know I can't plank. I haven't been to the gym. I went to the gym maybe 3 weeks out of my entire journey. It's one of the things.
And you still lost all your weight.
Well, because I'm active. I'm still active. I just don't. I just don't lift things while standing in one place.
I don't want to lift things.
But tell me to walk 3 or 4 miles, you know, or whatever. It's no big deal. If like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll totally do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so my question that I had is usually we ask people what are their tips for newbies, but I said it in messages and comments, but I so respect what you and Phil and Tanya do with 50 Shades of Maintenance, because there's just not, I mean, you have all these videos when you're new and you can watch and see what everybody's going on, and then there's nothing because people, you know, I'm experiencing life, which is great. Go experience life, but you know, it's
We're
nice
all experiencing life.
Right, exactly. You can still make a video.
Yeah.
But I so appreciate it because it's that perspective that's really helpful to me and so many others when you get further along in the journey. So instead of saying what would your tips be for newbies, what are your tips for people who have hit goal or are trying to maintain? Or is there anything specific you would say around that? And you've said a lot of things that relate to that. But
yeah, I would say that what the best thing you can do is not treat it like a beginning and a start, or an end, a starting and an end. That this is like the entire weight loss surgery thing has changed you forever. It's always going to be different. And so it's going to be varying degrees of being different. So I would say as a maintenance person, it's not that much different. Surround yourself with supportive people that love you and will have those hard conversations with you if you are not being truthful with yourself. You know, that's probably the best success strategy here, is the support of my friends and the constant being able to reach out to people who will listen, you know, or who allow me to listen, because I learn so much just from other people as well. Just helping them think out loud it's an honor to be part of that process, you know, and just surround yourself with people who love you and that are supportive of you being healthy.
Yeah, you know, I've loved like every show we've done since I've been doing this, which has been a couple months, but I love this one the best because I think some of the things that you've talked about are really different than what we usually talk about, and they're more about the internal piece and how you look at it, which is so important.
Yeah, I think about it all the time, and sometimes I get a little bit of flack for not making more videos, but I really want to make sure that what I'm saying is stuff that I've worked out myself. So that way I think there's something to be said where people can watch the raw process and still learn something. But I feel like I'm just a little weird in the fact that I feel a lot of responsibility with all of this love and support that I get from the entire community, that when I'm giving back, I want to make sure it's the shit that I've worked out. Or at least I think I might have something that somebody would benefit from. And it's the private conversations where I go deep, you know, where it's raw, and I mean, I don't know how much raw or deep are we talking about cleaning yourself after going poop, but, you know, that's real. That's real.
Before I ask that final question, I just want to say the same thing. I was just sitting here thinking, like, just sitting here listening to Kirk talk, like, makes my heart feel good. Like, I just feel so good and warm after this conversation. Like, Kirk, you are just such a beautiful and amazing human being.
And the stuff you said is what it's really about. It's not about 80 grams of protein and no carbs. I mean, it is, but it's about the stuff that you talked about tonight.
Yeah, and then it's okay to be bad. And I'm not always so. I mean, I'm anybody who's out there beating themselves up for not being quote unquote perfect. Stop. Just stop. Love yourself the way we love you. See yourself the way.
Yes.
And it's.
Okay, so we're going to ask you some fun questions before we go.
I love fun questions.
Yeah, me too. What is your favorite word?
Love.
That's my favorite word.
Yeah.
That's the tattoo I was going to get.
I have several, I think, favorite words, but that's the one that comes first to my mind is if I have a favorite word, because it can mean so many different things.
What is your least favorite word?
Goodbye.
Aww.
Yeah, I can't do it. Did you guys see, like, on Facebook? When I was at the house in Oregon, I had just said goodbye to Eric, and like I could not wake up that morning and face all of my friends in Oregon. I woke up before everybody else did, packed up my bags, and just left. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. But in that moment, the old me would have stayed and, you know, whatever. The new me was like, protect yourself. it wasn't like I needed something to be protected from, but I just knew that it was going to be too much for me that day to have to say goodbye. So, and I know I'm going to see all these bitches again, but it's still, it was too much in one day, the drama of it all.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Well, I love talking about weight loss surgery. Like when I was talking to my therapist one day, I really didn't feel like I had any hobbies, or I don't have any hobbies. Like I really don't. I mean, I like traveling. That can be considered a hobby. I like going to plays, live performance or live theater. That could be a hobby. But nothing gets me as fired up and excited than talking to people about weight loss surgery and how its ability to change lives. Something happened this weekend where somebody said something about weight loss surgery, and I said, and I think it had something to do with, I don't even remember what, but I remember just instantly, without even skipping a beat, I said it has nothing to do with that. It's about saving lives. And I think I was a little curt the way that I said it, because I think whoever had said something, I wasn't around a group of weight loss surgery people. A lot of them didn't even know that I had weight loss surgery. I mean, it comes up because it's such a big part of me, but I remember just being instantly like, no, this is about saving lives. Oh, I had something about, I think, talking about the WLSFA and going to the convention and supporting it, something along those lines. And it's like, no, it's about saving lives. But anyways, the WLS gets my energy going, my juice is flowing, makes me moist.
If I could do that for work and make money at it, I would do it all day long.
Yeah.
Well, that was the other thing that came up this weekend. Somebody said, well, you should, this was actually on an elevator at the office. Somebody said something about monetizing YouTube videos, or do you monetize it? And I'm like, no, I mean, I don't have anything against people that do. Don't get me wrong. But it's like the minute that it would become like a job for me, or I think something would get muddy.
It would shift, yeah.
Yeah, and I want this to always be the extra part of me. This is
pure.
Yeah.
So what turns you off?
Bigotry.
Oh, yeah.
In every form, whether it's fat shaming, whether it's racial, whether it's based on somebody's sexual orientation. Bigotry really turns me off. That's another thing where I just can't sit there and not say something.
What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
That's the most popular one.
And if it's a really, really bad one, it's like mother. Yeah.
What sound or noise do you love?
Water. I love the sound of water flowing. So the house that we were at this weekend had a river by it. When we were someplace recently that you could, the Oregon, we could hear the ocean. I grew up in Southern California, so for me, the ocean has a lot of spiritual meaning to me in terms of being able to, whenever having a bad day or whatever, just being able to sit where there was fresh air blowing on me and just being able to kind of get that all out, and just look at that water and know, like, you're just this little tiny part of the big thing. So the problem that feels so big, I can do the same thing looking at the stars. We can get a whole another conversation about that, because technically I've died twice, so I have a very different perspective on. I don't have this fear of death, and I enjoy everything. I feel like I'm really open to not just things of this particular plane, but also just other things. I think that was a big part of actually coming back from a really bad working with PTSD, or living with PTSD. And it wasn't until this is a whole other subject, but
yeah,
we'll cover that in January.
I want to hear that.
Yeah.
So what sound or noise do you hate?
When people bite their forks and scrape.
Ooh, yeah.
I can't. That's the sound I hate.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I don't know, but I keep telling everyone that someday I do want to work in the weight loss surgery realm. not from like a sales aspect or from like a product aspect, but I think I would just really love being a part of an actual surgical center's team in terms of not being in there chopping people up. But when I worked in outpatient mental health back in Big Bear, I was case managing, and I found that to be a very fulfilling career for me, or a very fulfilling. I felt like I was being my most authentic self by sort of making things easier for people so that they would not have to go through the same things I went through.
Yeah.
You know, and come out scathed. And I treat my weight loss surgery journey very similarly. And I just I love being around people that are excited.
Yeah.
I love being around people who are experiencing hope for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, and I love being there for the celebrations, and I love being there for the hard times too.
What profession would you not like to do?
I don't think I could be a doctor. I see how hard
it's a lot
it
of
is.
pressure, man. My dad's a doctor. It's a lot of pressure.
That's just a job that, like, I tell Eric every day, if everyone could do it, they would. Not everyone can do this.
Exactly.
So hats off, like, to the people who do it. But it would be too much for me. I feel that part I wouldn't do well with all the death and the hard news and that kind of thing.
Finally, the last one. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well, I'm pretty sure that it does. And I'm hoping those pearly gates are the entrance of a compound. Because to me, heaven is living with all of my weight loss surgery peeps, all of us together on a big farm or ranch somewhere.
That's the Mahoney's house. That's not
heaven. Yeah. Hashtag compound living. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to do this on your birthday weekend.
Oh no, it was my pleasure.
And
I just weekend, really.
What's that?
It was a nice way for me to wrap up the weekend after all of the debauchery. I'm joking. It was a good group.
I bet.
Yeah.
So we're going to have you back in January because we covered like 1/10 of what we had to ask, and there's like 9 million different comments on the side. But I just want to say thank you to you, and I really enjoyed.
Oh, thank you for even thinking about me or asking me.
Absolutely.
It's a real pleasure, and I want to say that I really appreciate what you guys are doing for folks and keeping this going, and the way you approach this from such an organized standpoint that people can count on you being here or the show being here for just that one thing that gets somebody through the week, you know,
Aww.
or something to look forward to. So good job.
Thank you.
What you're doing is important, very important as well.
It's my favorite thing to do, just like you were talking. I mean, this is the highlight of my week. So. Yeah. And I want to promote the shows that are coming up. So next week, we're having Jen Larson. Okay, Jen Larson isn't part of the weight loss surgery community. She's an author. She wrote a memoir about her, I can never say it right, duodenal switch.
Okay.
Which we read in the book group. And she also has a new book out called Future Perfect, which is a novel. She's an incredible writer.
Nice.
And she's going to be, both Lindsay and I love her, and so we became friends with her on Facebook and asked her to be on the show, and she is. And when she said she watched the show, I like totally fangirled out. So we're really excited to have her here. And I'll post on Facebook her books in case you want to check them out before she's going to be here next week. And Lindsay's going to co-host with me. And then on the 6th, guess who we have? The waffles.
Oh, nice. So, that is the night that the internet is going to break.
It's going to break. So super excited about that. And Scott Gastric Tiger is going to be my co-host for that show.
He's great.
Yeah.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Good night.
All right. See you guys next week.